where you're on, Scott.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah, you are. You're going to be. Don't be playing. Don't be playing.
Make sure.
Let's see, where was that? Okay, let's see. How's the chair this week? Is the chair working this week?
I don't know.
Is it, what kind of mood is the chair in? Is it sort of a sinking mood, or is it, am I going to actually get a raise today? I'm looking for a raise. I've been talking to my boss about that. He doesn't seem to be very receptive to that.
We'll see.
Did you say you have to go?
I do. I need to.
Oh, okay.
Sure do.
Well, get out of here.
But it was fun while it lasted.
Okay, but then, and I won't see you today at 3.
That's right.
You're bailing on me?
I'll bail on you today. Sure. Uh-oh.
I've just got a sinking feeling.
You got. You earned that one.
I sure did. Well, thanks for sliding over here and helping
Sure.
me get this set up, John.
You bet.
And then we'll figure out what to do with it.
I'll give you a call this afternoon and get that credit card from you and get that information.
You want it right
Yeah,
now?
that's fine.
You don't want everybody else to have it, so I won't read it out loud. But
That's fine.
there you go.
You don't want to tell the world.
No, and then there's the rest of it there on the back. Yeah. That's a 7 right there.
4 7. Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Scott, how's your week been?
Not too bad. Yours?
You the man. Got your Arkansas Razorback thing on.
Yeah. It's a little cool out there.
I'm headed to Lafayette, as I said, and I checked the temperature a few minutes ago. It's 1 degree there.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't even know what 1 degree feels like. I have no clue.
You're about to find out.
I'm about
Well,
to, yeah.
Does it feel any different than 20 degrees?
Well, I don't know. I'll let you know. I'm gonna be there Monday. The high is 10. That's the high.
Wow. It's just really don't.
Hard to comprehend.
It is. I can't.
For that part of the country, yeah.
Yeah, it's only like 10. That's like 10 hours from here. So I mean, it's not even a long way away.
No, it's not. Yeah, it's and I'm sure it'll be well over 100 in about 6-7 months.
Oh, don't give them that long.
So yeah.
Yeah. All right, sir.
Appreciate it.
If you'd shut that door behind you,
I'd
John,
be glad to.
we'll get started. We'll try 2 shows. Woo.
See you, fellas.
Okay,
Have a
man.
good
Oh,
one,
there's a
sir.
little thing right there. You kick it.
Oh, yeah.
Kick it. Kick it. Thanks,
Have a good
John.
one.
Thanks for coming
Thanks,
by.
sir. All right.
All right.
Shows.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
We are ready to go. You waiting on me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, okay. Welcome to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson. I am from Parkway Automotive. And you're tuned in to a show that's all things cars. That's right. We talk about everything top to bottom, bumper to bumper. So whatever that may be concerning your automobile. And the way we do that is we want you to ask your question via the web. And so you do that by going to MikeTheAutoGuy.com. You can ask any question about your car. You know how those questions just pop into your brain? You know, you go, oh, what, I need someone to ask. So that's why we do it this way. Those pop-ups, right? And so when those pop-ups hit your brain, now you can go to MikeTheAutoGuy.com and you can post your pop-up right there on the site. And then we can, get you an answer. That's what we're going to try to do. And so when you do that, that sends me an email directly to my phone. And then I try to get you an answer just as soon as I possibly can. And then we will feature your question on this show. whenever we have that little small space of opportunity to do that. But I'd say that most of the questions we've been able to feature on the show, even if we carry it over to the next week or whatever. We're just, we're going to continue to do that. Well, I am an ASC Master Certified Technician. I have a degree in automotive management. And the thing I want you to remember more than all those things that I've done in my career is that I love cars, because I think that's at the heart of what drives me to do all those other things, to be a Master Certified Technician, to earn that degree, is because I just want to do better at what I do constantly. And I never seem to be satisfied with where I am in regards to knowledge, mainly because the technology is changing so fast that you can't possibly, or maybe I should say it this way, I can't possibly keep up with all the changes that take place in our industry. I mean, it's just like huge. I mean, who would have thought that in 2014 we'd be talking about in 9 years that they expect to have autonomous cars around? But you can see, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today, but you can see this technology developing in our industry already, just under the umbrella of safety. I mean, there's two things that drive technology in our industry, and that's safety and fuel mileage. And if you remember last week's show, we spent the entire show talking about that marriage between fuel mileage and technology. Well, safety is it's another part. It's another part of the equation that helps drive technology, is safety, because, I mean, ultimately that's where we get. And I remember Scott, our producer, saying one time that, the car was never meant to be a phone booth or a texting station or a concert hall. It was meant to get us from point A to point B and to get us there safely. It's doing the same thing the horses did. I mean, that's the reason we rode horses back. Like as if I were there. I'm not that old, but the reason those John Wayne rode horses is because he wanted to get from point A to point B, and he wanted to do it faster than his shoes would carry him, or his boots, right? John Wayne would never wear tennis shoes, would he? Okay, I'm dating myself. Some of you are probably listening to the show, who's John Wayne? That is sad. Everyone listening to this show better know who John Wayne is. I'm just saying, you need to know who he is. Okay, so anyway. All right, let's talk about cars. There's 3 companies that do put me here each and every week. One, of course, is Parkway Automotive. Our company is AAA approved. We have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. We're located at 708 Kirk Road in West Little Rock. And the best asset that Parkway Automotive has to offer you is really the people that you get to meet right when you walk in the door. That's what makes a difference. And I think every business owner knows that to be true about their business. It's the people that you put into place. You ought to have your best trained people on the front lines that are going to be dealing with your customers on a daily basis. All right, we don't want to put the least trained in those positions. We want to put the most highly trained people in those positions. And I have told my staff this for years, that we work on whatever our clients are driving, whatever that may be. That may be, hybrids, electrics, or autonomous cars in the years to come. No matter what it is. So if we're going to be serious about the industry, we don't want to isolate ourselves to one make and model. We want to learn all we can about everything that everybody, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So you want to learn all you can about all the different makes and models and their particular strategies and how they build the cars. And then, you buy the equipment, you invest in the training, so that at the end of the day, when your car rolls into our shop, then you can have a level of confidence knowing these guys know what they're doing. And I think that's where you can see a company like ours being set apart. We're very much committed to those kinds of things. Another company that puts me here each and every week, Golden Collision Center. They're located out on 7 Acres Drive in West Little Rock. That's just a little bit west of the Good Earth Garden Center. Most people know where that is. And you will just find that their work is impeccable. And in fact, next week on the show, we're going to be talking a lot about the body shop industry and some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes that I know at the end of the day will impact you, the consumer. I mean, there's things that go on in every industry that's kind of behind the scenes, and you don't really, maybe you don't really want to know all there is, but sometimes I think it's important for you to know what's going on. and how that impacts you as a consumer when it comes to getting your car repaired, be it via body wreck. And some of you have had more opportunity to be exposed to that over these last few weeks here in Arkansas as we've gotten, well, winter's not over yet. And Groundhog, he's busy, or I don't know if does he cause the bad weather, or is he like a prophet or something? I don't know. Prophet Groundhog? I've never heard of that. But anyway, he seems to have some influence on the weather, which weather like this puts guys like Larry Golden very busy for sure. But you want to use them because they work with your insurance company. They do a great job. And at the end of the day, as my shop foreman often says, there's always a right repair. And that's true with mechanical repair or with body work. There's always a right repair. And there's always those out there that will tend to find a way to shortcut the right repair under the idea that they're going to save you money. The truth is there really is only one right repair. And if you go with the right repair, everybody's happy at the end of the day. The person who worked on it and the person to whom the work is being done for. So keep that in mind when you start thinking about having your car serviced and where it goes and what it does. I think it's a big deal. Yeah, it is to me. Third company that puts me here is the Arkansas Better Business Bureau, and I want to spend a little bit of time talking about what's going on with them and some of the things that they have going on, and I'll continue to talk about this in the weeks to come because I want you, some of you own businesses and will have an opportunity to be a part of one of the things that they'll be kicking off in May that they're actually doing it now. They're taking in nominees for what is called the Torch Award. The Torch Award is saying that this business not only speaks about their ethics, they live their ethics. And so they separate it down into the size of businesses, and I would say that most of you within my listening voice are going to be business owners with 50 employees or less. And so that's going to be kind of the category that I would think. And some of you may be more, but you as a consumer can recommend a business because maybe you've had some ethical dealings with them. And then that business does need to submit some information for an independent panel of judges to decide who that might be. And when it comes to winning, this is a very prestigious award when you think about that a company is recognized for their ethics in the business community, and the Better Business Bureau being the one to put that together. Now, you don't have to be a member of the Bureau in order to submit an entry for this award. But I think it's a very neat award. Our company won the award last time they did it, which was 10 years ago, 2004. So you're not even seeing it happen that often. So when it does, it is a big deal. So you can submit your entries yourself as a business owner or as a consumer if you've had some interaction with a company that has really high ethics, then you could submit them too. All right, so we'll get back after the break. I'll tell you more about the Laws of Life essay that the Better Business Bureau is involved in. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. You're tuned in to Ask the Auto Guy right here on KRN. We'll be right back after the break. We have got one done. And then you do your magic and you make it all sound. You are the sound guy. You make it all sound good. That's for sure. Make it all happen.
All right, this is for the 8th, and we're also going to do one for 15th.
Mm-hmm. It was awfully warm in California where I was last week.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, Costa Mesa. I read a little bit about the history of the place while I was there.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know it now, but it used to be a cattle ranch.
Really?
That's what it was. And just before the turn of the century, it's like 1881.
Yeah.
It was a cattle ranch.
Wow.
And that's what people did.
Uh-huh.
And so it's pretty neat. A lot of concrete's been poured since then
Oh,
in that part.
all right,
Of the
are you
world.
ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Number two.
This is number 2. Hey, welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive, reminding you to ask any question you want about your car anytime, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by going to MikeTheAutoGuy.com. That's all you got to do. Now, the other thing you want to find out about when you go on the site, you want to register for the Car Care Clinic that we're having coming up April the 5th. Now, I mean, that's going to come really fast. I mean, that's like, what's today's date? Yeah, it's about, 6 weeks. So, you want to hurry. So, let's get signed up now so I can know you're coming. And we'll talk more about that later in the show. The other thing I wanted to mention about the Arkansas Better Business Bureau, and I'm not trying to turn this into a show for the BBB, although it can be because they're one of our great sponsors, but the Laws of Life essays. And what they want is they want students in junior high and high school to write an essay about what they have grown up, what they've learned, what has influenced them in regards to what we would term as laws of life. I mean, it's really surrounded around ethics. That's really what it's surrounded by. And what's neat is you who are teachers, and those of you who know those who are teachers, which means everybody, okay, then you have the opportunity to get the teacher involved. And we have some teachers right now that are actually making the laws of life a part of their classroom assignments for their students to write that, because it's an essay, and the teacher's making this assignment. This is what I expect from students. When you have to do an essay, you do what? You research and you find out. So what happens is you end up learning more about what are the laws of life and what does it mean to be ethical in business, and how does that manifest itself, when I step up to the cash register, or when I have my car serviced, or when I have any type of goods or services within my community. What does that really mean? And so by having the students write these essays, they've got to study and learn about what it means to have ethics. And what we're hoping is that students will come to understand that and learn more. And then, because ultimately those students are going to be someone's employees at some point. And so this is an opportunity for them to learn that. So it's said this way, that the Laws of Life essay, sponsored by the Better Business Bureau, will challenge young people to discover the values that for many of them will really guide them through the rest of their life. And maybe if it's not, maybe it doesn't guide them because they make a choice not to let it guide them, they're at least going to know that truth. And at the end of the day, I mean, that's so very important. All right, we're going to spend some time talking about, we've talked about this before, but winter driving, because we're not sure, we just really don't know when will winter be done here in Arkansas. We don't have a clue. It's going to be done soon, but right now it's still cold in Arkansas. And we've here in Central Arkansas, we've missed, what do they call that? You just kind of, we haven't had the large snowfalls yet. Not yet, but who's to say? I always remember, I've grown up in Arkansas. I mean, I'm an Arkansas boy. I mean, Arkansas River, what runs through my blood. I mean, I'm just grown and bred and fed in Arkansas, and I remember very few like massive winters, and this is not really a massive winter to me. It's just cold, and that's okay. But when we have like massive, I remember 2000. Everyone still probably remembers 2000 when we had the big ice storm without electricity for about 5 days. But there's ways that you need to learn how to drive on this kind of stuff. So I talked to Larry Golden at Golden Collision, and he actually had this in one of his electronic newsletters, and you ought to sign up for that, and you can connect to that through MikeTheAutoGuide.com. There's a connection there to Larry Golden's place, and just to try to get some ideas about winter driving that are outside the obvious. I mean, cars are equipped with ABS, and some of us, our dad told us, and our parents told us, pump the brake when you go across bridges and stuff like that. But if your car has ABS, you don't have to do that. It does it for you. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? It does that for you. Yeah, all electronically. Can you imagine trying to pump your brakes 10 times per second? You can't Well, maybe you can. I shouldn't assume that no one could do that, but I can't. I can't pump my brakes 10 times a second. But your ABS system on your car certainly can, and that's what's going to give you control over the ice. But just some other things that I said, hey, Larry, what are some things we need to make sure people do when it comes to winter driving? And one is don't drive like you do in the summertime. All right, so I threw that in. That wasn't Larry. But close. Larry said, be patient. Be patient. And you have to be. And because part of it is some of us are not as experienced in driving in this stuff that others are. And so you can tend to get a little impatient with those who are, I know, and you're thinking, well, they shouldn't even be on the road. But I mean, they have to be. They're just trying to be cautious. They don't want to end up in a wreck. So just be patient. Be patient with me if I'm in front of you and driving and I'm going slower than you want me to go. Okay, just be patient. Um, the idea about front wheel drives and four wheel drives, helping in this, and they help they help you in regards to traction, but they don't help you stop any better. You still have to use some guidelines, and I remember learning this, and Larry would agree with this. If you will drive in the snow and ice as if you had an egg underneath your brake pedal and your gas pedal, and you don't want to break the egg is the goal, then you will find out this is the way to drive on ice and snow. It makes it pretty easy. So you want to brake sooner, giving it more time to stop. You want to accelerate, don't break the egg. We want to accelerate slower, and you're going to find yourself being able to get where you want to go. And I mean, I've driven like this, and that's how I drive on the snow and ice. And I had an F-250 truck that was a diesel engine, it's really heavy up front, but it was only a rear wheel drive. And so the rear was real light and the front was real heavy, but I was still able to maneuver in the snow that we've had over the years and stuff like that. But it's by following that kind of process. So Larry says, hey, you front wheel drive and four wheel drive, it may get you where you're going, but he'll tell you that stopping is when most of the accidents happen. I got hit twice in the same location within about 10 minutes of each other when I was stopped at a stop sign, and the car number one was trying to maneuver the corner to my left, and he was going too fast, and he slid right into me. All right, so I'm on the side of the road, and we're waiting for the police officer to show up, and another vehicle does the same thing and hits me in the exact same spot. I mean, one car was blue and one was red, and you could not tell. It looked like a blue and red car hit me. I mean, they hit in the exact same spot, and they both tore the doors off my F-150 on the driver's side. Nobody hurt because no one was going fast, but it sure did a lot of damage. And because I got hit twice in the same spot by the exact same process, stopping. So Larry's right about that. All right, drive slow and keep plenty of distance between you and the car in front of you. I mean, you should know to do that. Plenty of room, plenty of time to stop. In other words, keeping that eggshell in a safe place. When you're climbing a small hill in your neighborhood, remember that the snow and slush actually offer better traction at these slow speeds than the little frozen smooth tracks left by your neighbor, we'll say. So think about that as you're going up some of those. Be sure and do this. Larry wanted me to stress this for sure. Be sure that you thaw out all of your windows before attempting to drive. I mean, you've got to get up earlier. You've got to get your car ready. You've got to get it warmed up. You need to get all the glass cleared where you can see really good. Because in poor weather conditions, maximum visibility is ideal. That's what we want. And so not only that, if you have ice missiles, going off your car while you're going down the road, that can be dangerous for other ones. And when I talked to Larry, he said, it's not just about the snow that causes a lot of the accidents, but even when there's any kind of inclement weather, when we have rain or whatever that we sometimes have during other parts of the year, he said the number one reason that accidents occur is because of tire wear and people not paying attention to tires. We'll touch on that a little bit more after the break. We're going to go to the break. We'll be right back. Remember, MikeTheAutoGuide.com is where you want to go to submit your questions. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. We'll be right back after the break.
Is there a common time to get new tires? I.e., 3,000, 5,000 miles getting oil
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, right. That's a
10,000
great
miles.
question.
Do this.
Yeah.
Is there a how many miles?
Mm.
Now there's a manufacturer's recommendation,
Right.
but is there a general public number?
I think the public number would be typically you want to start looking at your tires when they've got, if it's a brand new car, typically the tires that originally come on the car when they're brand new, Scott, are not as good as the ones you would buy as your first set after the new car. So I can typically see those tires lasting me 25 to 35,000 miles, somewhere in that neighborhood. I know on my truck I didn't make it to about 28,000 miles, and I had to put a new tires on. But now I have Michelin's on. I've got another 30,000, and they still look brand new. So it can certainly make a difference. But what's important is regular inspections, and those inspections should include a tread depth measurement. So, for instance, maybe there's something that's going awry with your alignment on your vehicle. Well, we can wear out a tire in 10,000 miles. Or we can wear it out in 5,000 miles. So having that inspection where the tread depth is measured is what's key to making that decision about tread depth.
Is the old adage the quarter?
It was a penny. It was actually the penny. It was Lincoln's head.
Okay.
And interesting, Channel 11 is coming over to Parkway today to do a segment specifically on tires and about DOT numbers. And Consumer Reports, I read this about a year ago, where 2/30 seconds is where the tread bar is on tires. All tires have a little bar in the tread. And when your tread wears down to touch that bar, then it's time to replace it. And that depth of the bar, that bar height, we'll say, is 2/30 seconds of an inch. But Consumer Reports said the difference between 2/30 seconds and 4/30 seconds of tread on your tire is half the stopping distance. So where a car would stop at 100 feet at 4/30 seconds, when it gets down to 2/30 seconds, it takes 200 feet.
Wow.
Okay? So I mean, that's a big deal. So Consumer Reports started advocating to consider replacing your tires at 4/30 seconds instead of waiting to the 2.
Wow.
Just because of that.
Okay.
I mean, because that can be a difference between an accident and an accident easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, we're gonna be talking about DOT numbers on Channel 11 today too. And I don't know when they'll air. Probably sometime this weekend. That it'll probably go on.
Are you ready?
I don't think so, but I think you are. So we have to go. We have to keep going.
No.
No, we have to.
Your show.
We go. Where it is?
That's what it says.
Where? I didn't. I may have to stop and go get some water because of the dry road. No, it's not really that bad today. Maybe I'm better.
Well, now that you're thinking about it, though.
Oh, that's what's going to happen. It's a psychosomatic illness, isn't it? I'm feeling sick.
You want to do this?
Therefore, I am. No, let's go. I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's go.
All right, we'll go get some water after this one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll get some water later. Okay. Welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive, and I want to remind you. You know, maybe you've had an accident this past week. You need to call Larry 868-7000. I mean, he has some really great staff. He's over there. He's got Tuit and some other folks there. I can't remember all their names, but they can help you. And they're going to work with your insurance company. And I think at the end of the day, what you can count on with Golden Collision Centers, they're always going to do the right repair. They're not going to shortcut it. And I'll just tell you that we all know that there are businesses out there that do that. And it just popped into my little brain about one of the things that I saw the BBB is really watching right now that you should know about is people selling Olympic paraphernalia. I don't know if paraphernalia is the best word, but maybe it is. And I mean, there was, and we're talking about, just fraudulent merchandise that's not official Olympic merchandise. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. And so there was a recent search on eBay showed 5,693 items for sale for, under Sochi 2014. And I mean, a lot of them were authentic, but some were just fraudulent. One of them was the Olympic torch. You could buy it for $7,000. And I mean, just be careful. I mean, it's always about buyer beware. And I think at the end of the day, I remember an article that was written by Monty, who works for Crow Burlingame Company, some years ago. He used to work for a speed shop called Steve's Speed Shop that was out on Geyer Springs. It's now merged with a auto sports center here in Little Rock. But anyway, I say all that to say he wrote an article about how important it is to do business with the local business. And I know there's times you need to go on the internet, but that doesn't. I'm just saying, supporting local businesses and the amount of money, and obviously I'm an advocate for local business because I am one. I are one, right? But what happens to 100% of the money that you spend in your city stays in your city? I mean, for the most part, when you deal with a local business. And I think that should be important. Supporting your local community, and I mean it's a huge deal. So I want to encourage you along those lines. I know I've gotten a little bit off track, but back to the tires are a primary reason for accidents. Larry Golden says whenever there's any kind of inclement weather. And I'm surprised that the insurance. I asked them, well, do the insurance companies penalize their policyholders for that? And the answer to that question is no, but it does impact the prorate in regards to any vehicles that are totaled. They'll measure that tread depth so that the client for the insurance company is not getting, like full price for tires. They call it betterment, but it's an adjustment on the tire tread depth. But I mean, just imagine all that you go through, be it your deductible or whatever. I mean, a lot of you are running $500 to $1,000 deductibles, plus the inconvenience of your car being wrecked and all that stuff, and you can get a new set of tires somewhere between $500 and $1,000. So I mean, why spend the money on a deductible and not having a car and all that goes on? Make sure your tires are good. And Consumer Reports would say, do that at 4 30-seconds of tread. They all have a wear bar that shows 2 30-seconds. And that's for sure when you absolutely what we would call require replacement. But the study showed by Consumer Reports a few years ago, no, it was just last year, that said if you have 4 30-seconds of tread on your tire and you stop in 100 feet, that when you wear down to 2 30-seconds of the tread, if you wait till then, it takes 200 feet. It doubles the length needed to stop your car, the difference between 2 30-seconds of a tread. Now, if you think about how much that is, we're talking, take 1 inch and divide it 32 times. And 2 of those can make a difference in you stopping at 100 feet or it taking 200 feet to stop. And I use that as an example as far as the footage. It could be 50 and 100, whatever you want to use. But for sure, it doubles the space needed when you let your tires wear down to 2 30-seconds of tread. So Consumer Reports would tell you, consider replacing your tires at 4 30-seconds for a really, really safe stopping distance. And I think, man, that's good. I mean, they did the test. I didn't, but I would agree with them. I think that they're very neutral in their testing. And speaking of taking good care of your car, the Car Care Clinic for Parkway will be coming up April the 5th. And it's interesting, there's an organization called the Car Care Council. It's carcarecouncil.org. And they indicated that 22% in the study they looked at, I don't know however many cars. I think it was 1,000 cars that they randomly chose. 22% of those cars had either low or dirty engine oil. 20% had inadequate cooling protection, and I mean, and we're talking about the word cooling. We really are talking about right now, this time of year, is like anti-freeze protection because it's cold out there. And so a good number of them did not have adequate cooling protection. 19% had dirty air filters. 18% had low or contaminated brake fluid, and 14% needed new drive belts. And I mean, so what we do at the Car Care Clinic is really cool. It's really fun. We go through some time of meet and greet, and then we take the time to go through some education, sort of a classroom setting, and then you get to pick your tech, which is kind of fun. You pick your tech, and then that technician, you're going to bring your car into the shop, and you, along with your technician, is going to go over your car. And I mean, it's a lot of fun. So you need to consider coming from 9 to noon, April 5th at Parkway Automotive. How you get signed up, how you get in, is by going to MikeTheAutoGuide.com. Listen, we are going to limit the number of participants in this class because we have a limited number of technicians and obviously a limited number of time. But we want you to get even a little more familiar with your car. You also have an opportunity to get connected to get a copy of my book. And if you sign up for the workshop, we're probably going to give you a copy. But if you want one now, you can buy one on Amazon or Kindle. And it's called Start Me Up. It's a practical guide to understanding your vehicle. Makes a great gift for a college student. You got graduates coming up. Those make great gifts for them. And one of the things I advocate in the book that you want to be aware of is I advocate that you learn how to change your tire in your driveway. Get familiar with your tools. There's no risk, there's no pressure, there's not the pressure of being on the side of the road somewhere and the risk of being hit by oncoming traffic. And so by you practicing that, you become familiar with things. And so when it does happen, and you have a flat tire, you're going to know exactly how to handle the situation. You're going to have control of the situation. You know where the tools are. You know how to do the process. Everybody that I can think of that have done this has said, "Man, I'm really glad I did that." So I encourage you to do that. You don't have to do it today because it's still cold outside. But when it warms up, you can do that. Maybe you won't have a flat between now and then. But that's interesting information just from the Car Care Council when it comes to cars. So, and all of that brings us down to one of the things I wanted to cover with you today. And we're not going to be able to cover all this week, but we'll cover it between this week and next week, and that is the safety of mini cars. And what we're calling mini cars are things like the Fiat 500, the Honda Fit, and the Toyota Yaris. All right, so just you picture some of those cars in your mind, and you'll get an idea. Only 1 out of 11 of those cars achieved any kind of an acceptable rating in the Insurance Institution for Highway Safety for a front crash test. And so I want to spend some time coming into the next segment talking a little bit about this, and I think it'll probably carry over to next week too, depending on what I can get through. But because when you talk about you buying a car, sometimes it can just be about the money and buying the least expensive car you can get for the money. And you might be surprised who did the best in that. But I think you'll be amazed at those that didn't do so well that are out there, and that it just might surprise you. So we're going to kind of walk through which of the mini cars out of these 11 tested, which ones actually did the worst and what's the best, which you're not going to be that impressed by either. We'll be right back after the break. Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. Yeah, they do what's called an overlap test. Overlap is where most accidents happen. In other words, two cars coming together in a head-on collision, they typically don't hit like this.
No.
They hit like this. And so we're going to talk about that. So that's the test that's done. And the Chevrolet Spark did the best, and it only got an acceptable rating. Yeah, what? So we need to talk about that.
Those cars more or less fuel efficient.
Yes.
And put safety on the back burner.
Yeah.
Did the manufacturers say, "Hey, this is a growing market. We need something in it. Let's get this one out, and then we'll."
Well, I mean, you can only put so many safety features in space. And the energy of an accident is the same in a small car as it is a large vehicle in regards to the accident occurring.
Are there regulations? You've seen the actual smart car. That's the brand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. Are there regulations on that thing? Is it allowed on the freeway?
Yeah, it is. It's passed some tests, but there's a comfort level that's just not there. I've ridden in one of those. We've serviced some of those smart cars, and there's a comfort level that I'm just not. I mean.
No. I mean, you shouldn't be in a constant
feel like
state
you're
of pucker while you're driving.
A constant state of pucker. Can I use that?
Sure.
That's great. Constant state of pucker. Which could happen in some of these small cars.
Yeah. Now, was the, did you say Fiat?
Fiat 500.
Okay.
Yeah. Didn't do so well. Okay.
Are you ready?
We're number 4?
This is number 4.
Okay. Okay.
Finished after this.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Hey, welcome back to Mike the Auto Guy. This is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive, and we're talking about these crash tests that were done by it's the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, because they have to determine what they're going to charge you in premiums based upon cars and personal injury and things like that. And interesting, there's there's 11 vehicles that were tested. Now, this test just started in 2012, and it's called an overlap test. And it's where, let's just say, instead of your car hitting another car square, bumper to bumper, we're talking about two cars hitting one another, sort of left headlight to left headlight. Maybe I can give you that. Maybe there's a word picture there you can understand. They all have these different ratings that they put these cars in regards to, helping determine where it falls, whether it be good, acceptable, marginal, or poor. And the best one that tested of all of them is the little Chevrolet Spark. It only achieved a rating of acceptable. No one got a good rating out of these cars. And so the Chevrolet Spark earns the 2014 Top Pick Safety Award among what we'll call mini cars. So they do these overlap tests. And they try to replicate what happens when the two corners collide with another vehicle. And a lot of times that happens like with a tree or a telephone pole. You don't hit it right dead center. You could hit another car. And so like 25% of these cars, the front end, they hit on the driver's side. They strike a rigid barrier at like 40 miles an hour. That's kind of where most of them. And so to pass this test is a lot more difficult than the head-on test that the federal government does, simply because there's, the angle that it hits. The crush zone is bypassed because there's a crush zone that's built into cars to allow them to absorb the energy, something that they've learned from racing and other things. So, but these small lightweight vehicles, they have a very inherent safety disadvantage. And so it's even more important that if you're going to choose what we would call a mini car, or what Scott, our producer, would call cars with pucker factor, as you're driving down the road, that you need to choose one that has the best occupant safety available if you decided that this is what I've got to buy. So these cars are not performing well as other vehicle categories in these small overlap crashes, in these crash tests. So size still makes a difference for vehicle crashes, parents, when you're thinking about putting your student, your new driver, in a car. The size still has a positive impact in protecting the occupants. I mean, you can go fast enough to die in any size vehicle, but just in normal driving or someone else hitting the car, there's a lot more risk. Because what's happening on these mini cars, I looked at these tests, is that they're collapsing. Here's something interesting too you should know about is that we're doing the show now. We're recording the show for videos to be put on our website. So you'll be able to see that. So if you're seeing the show, then you get to see a picture right now of one of those cars and seeing how it collapses when it has that accident. And so we're bypassing the crush zone, and more metal's flying everywhere, and we're getting to the occupant a lot quicker. And so that seems to make a difference on these cars. So all the vehicles except the Spark and the Mazda 2 also earn low ratings for restraints. 7 of the 11 were downgraded for allowing too much occupant forward motion. So they have the dummy in there, and either the safety belt didn't do a good job holding the dummy in place, or the dummy's head, listen to this, missed or slid off the front airbag completely. He just missed the whole thing, because what happened on some of these cars is the seat got dislodged and it moved the occupant away. And they said the side curtain airbags, they have an important role to play in these type of crashes, but they didn't provide sufficient protection for the occupant in the mini cars. And that's in 8 of the mini cars. And in the Toyota Yaris, the side bag didn't even deploy at all. The steering column even moved sideways. And in 3 of the cars, the seats just tipped out of position. And so, you didn't even make contact with the airbag. The two worst performers on the test were the Honda Fit and the Fiat 500. And so in both cases, there was great compromise of the structure and the driver space, and the steering column was actually pushed back toward the driver in both of these cases. And so in the case of the Fit, they said the dummy's head barely contacted the frontal airbag before sliding off and hitting the instrument panel. Now, you would think that with the airbags and all the design, you'd never make it to the instrument panel. But in the Honda Fit, you do. And in the little Fiat 500, the driver's door opened, the hinges tore off, and that creates the risk with the seat moving of ejecting you out of the car. These small cars. All right. And they also measure like how much you could be hurt in one of those cars. And so the injury measures on the dummy's left leg, they were very marginal and poor as far as their reports. In most cases, there were potential injuries to the lower left leg, which makes sense, right? But the Fit and the 500 and the Hyundai Accent were downgraded for left thigh and hip injury. And the Honda Fit and the 500, they were the only vehicles to record elevated injury risk to the right leg as well. So to actually go all the way over to the right leg. So we got left knee, hip, and right leg damaged. So we did get the little Chevy Spark in at acceptable overall rating because the dummy's movement was very controlled. They kept him in the place, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to keep you in the cage, so when the airbags and the other structural things are actually in use, they're protecting the occupant. All right. So here are the picks. All right, here's the top 14. I'm just gonna give you the overall rating. Okay, Mazda 2 was Chevrolet Spark was the only one that got acceptable. All right, it didn't. There's a grading above that no one got. Okay, so it got acceptable. The Mazda 2 got marginal. The Toyota Yaris marginal. The Kia Rio was marginal. The 2014 Ford Fiesta was marginal, and those were the ones built after August 2013. The Mitsubishi High Mirage, it got poor. We get poor after this. Nissan the Versa sedan, it got a poor rating. The Toyota Prius C got a poor rating. The Hyundai Accent got a poor rating. The Fiat 500, as we've already mentioned, and Honda Fit, topped the list or bottomed the list, however you want to look at it, with poor ratings as well in protecting occupants in an accident. So, in this particular style of accident, which they're saying is like 40% of the crashes, that's what goes on. Wow. So think about the pucker factor when buying a mini car for your student or for yourself and your own safety. Size still makes a difference in going to a little bit larger sedan, and if you really compare the fuel mileage, they're making cars very efficient. I mean, we're seeing that already with Volkswagen's diesel engines and the other things that we've talked about on this show, that you can still get a very economic car that's bigger than a mini car. That's for sure. And like that little smart car, I don't know, man. That thing wasn't even on the list, so I don't know whether it passed or failed, or if they tested it or what they did with it. But we've serviced smart cars at Parkway Automotive, and I've yet to feel comfortable in that smart car. I mean, it's just a little bitty. I mean, you can turn your head and hit the passenger side with your nose. It's so small. Yeah, I've got to feel like I'm doing something besides riding a go-kart. Hey, here's a quick fast five before we end the show today. Ford dealers are preparing how do I fix all this aluminum that's coming on their Ford F-150. Cadillac won the 2014 Green Car Technology Award. How about that? Corvette won, 2014 Corvette has performance data recorders now on board, so you can record your performance and reactions and things like that and go back and take a look at it. And autonomous driving is in the news. And did you know that Mercedes has actually been looking at autonomous cars all the way back to 1980? And Toyota's fuel cell vehicles are going to hit the showroom floor in 2015. That's 1 year away. Boy, tune in next week. We'll tell you more about what's going on in the industry right here on Ask the Auto Guy. Remember, go to MikeTheAutoGuy.com to ask any question about your car.
you go.
Yeah, there you go. I am gonna take a little break here and go get some H2O. And I'll be right back.
That'll work.
And we'll do show number 2. And I think I got enough in about the little mini cars. But boy, let's see the next subject. How about insurance companies getting into the parts business?
Ooh. See their reasoning.
Follow the money.
Yep. It's all about it. All right.
Time is it? What is it? 11?
Just after 11.
Okay. Okie dokie. I asked the secretary up there, Rochelle, if she would see if Cindy, because I need to talk to Cindy in the next hour.
Okay.
So she may pop in here, and I just need to ask her a question.
All right.
Wow. Well, it's on my brain. Okay, I know the promo may only run like today and tomorrow for tomorrow's show, but let's try to get it in whenever we can.
Yeah.
You want to do a quick promo for that?
We got it.
Okay. Okay, you ready?
Yep. Already.
Hey, this is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. Find out on tomorrow's... I can't say tomorrow, how can I?
No.
Yeah, okay. Hey, this is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. Find out how safe... Nope, don't do it that way. Hi, this is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. Find out what the definition of a mini car is and how safe... Oh, there it is. Hey, this is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. Find out the definition of a mini car and how safe it is. You might be surprised. You might be driving one. Saturday at 3 o'clock. Golly. Okay. this is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. Find out if you're driving a mini car and how safe it is. Saturday at 3 o'clock right here on KARN. Golly. Some days a diamond, some days a stone. Wasn't there a song? Wasn't there a song that said that? I'm not a singer, but my mother listened to country and western song the whole time I was growing up, or country and western music.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, it's not even called country and western anymore, is it? It's just called country.
Mm-hmm.
But she did. She listened to country and western music, and I got so sick of that stuff. But anyway, someone's dog died, and their trailer burned, and their wife left them, and you know what happens when you play a country and western song backwards, don't you?
What is that?
Yeah, dog comes home, get your wife back, get your trailer back, get your truck back, it's not repoed.
The song of the people.
That is right. Okay, let's see, what else will do?
Are you recording today?
Nope.
No.
That's Alan's. And I already ripped Davidson. You don't need this.
Oh, okay.
How are
So
you?
he's
How you
doing the
doing?
I'm
best
Mike
of?
Davidson.
Hey, Jerry Tucker.
Hey, Jerry.
He's
Yeah,
doing the
good
best
to meet
of?
you.
He's out of town.
Oh,
He
okay.
cut a new in like an in and out, and we're
okay.
just doing an old interview.
Cool. Thanks,
So you
sir.
work here at the station?
I work for some of the guys who do weekend shows.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. You're the guy. You're the Saturday guy. Or one of the Saturday guys, huh?
No, he's a production guy.
Yeah.
Okay. So does he do like what you do?
No, he does a lot more than what I do. He's
Oh, you mean he's more important than you?
Hands down.
Is that what he said? That's what he said, wasn't it? It was good to meet you, Jerry.
Yeah.
I need to send a quick text.
No, it's just a waiting game. Oh. All right. Are you ready?
I am as ready as I'm going to be this week.
All right. This is for the 15th,
Okie dokie.
segment 1.
All right. Hey, welcome to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive here each and every Saturday to talk about you and your car. Thank you for tuning in today. We're going to be talking a lot today about insurance companies and kind of what's going on behind the scenes and why that might be important to you. So you want to stay tuned throughout the show today. I am an ASE Master Certified Technician, and you have the opportunity to ask any question about your car anytime by simply going to MikeTheAutoGuy.com. That's all you have to do. Submit your question there, and you can also get a quick direct connection to some of our sponsors for sure right there on that website. When you submit your answer, I get an email, and so I'm going to answer that question for you right away. And then I will feature that question right here on this show. So do that whenever that pop-up happens in your brain and you have that question. You can go right there and ask it anytime. I've been in business since 1998. I own a company called Parkway Automotive, one of the sponsors of the show. And what we want to do and bring to you each and every week is just what we believe is helpful information for you and your car. It could be things about the industry as a whole. It could be, as we're going to talk about this week, the insurance industry and some of the things that they're doing and how that impacts you. So we hope that you'll find that helpful. There's 3 companies that do put me here, of course, Parkway Automotive, also Larry Golden with Golden Collision, and the Arkansas Better Business Bureau. All right, and you can get a hold of the sponsors by going to our website. And also, you can just pick up, you may remember this, they're called telephones, and you can pick up the phone and simply call 868-7000 to get a hold of our friends out at Golden Collision Center. At the Arkansas Better Business Bureau, phone not so easy. Website, absolutely. You can get a hold of anybody there through the website. That's the best way to get a hold of them. And I think what's so neat, because we get these at Parkway Automotive, and you can go on the Arkansas BBB website, and not only can you find out about the laws of life, I talked about that last week, and what they're doing for students in the schools, but also the torch awards, what they're doing for businesses. But what's really neat for you, the consumer, a lot of people think of the BBB as just a place for me to go and complain when I have something go wrong. But I mean, what's really neat is you can go on there and request a quote for a particular industry, and every member of the BBB that's within the area that you've designated will get an email from you requesting a quote. I mean, and that is, I mean, instead of you calling, shop after shop, you can just go right there and get some interaction, go one place, do it one time, and get multiple businesses that you already know are legitimate businesses. You don't have to guess, is this a good business or not, or do I find a friend with a referral, which is always good experiences, and read reviews and all that, which is still good stuff. But if they're a member of the Better Business Bureau, they're the only ones that are going to get the estimate request from you. So, I mean, they have made it extremely easy. We get a couple of those a week at Parkway Automotive, and we engage and interact and call them, and we'll call you and talk to you. We don't just throw your numbers back at you. We're going to try to engage and talk. So neat thing that every single person within the sound of my voice can take advantage of, because all of you buy something at some point. So it doesn't necessarily have to be auto repair, although that's what this show's about. You can get any, I mean, it doesn't matter. You can buy guttering, home improvement, windows, you name it. You go there. Just go there. That's what you want to do. You just want to go there. And so, and I'll mention again, these torch awards are great for businesses who are running an ethical business to get that recognition they deserve, because you got to work hard in your marketing and all of that to be recognized in the community as a place that you can go. But you also have to practice it. We can't just talk about it and put it on pen and paper and put it out there or on the airwaves or anything else. It's got to be practiced. It's got to be real. People got to experience the promise you give when you talk about ethics. And so the Torch Award helps identify who the top people are in regards to that. And then, of course, the incredible Laws of Life essay, where teachers can get involved in helping students really study and understand what it means to work and live and be ethical in their operation. So you want to be a part of that. Also, if you go to MikeTheAutoGuide.com, I want to remind you about the Car Care Clinic coming up April the 5th. I'll be there doing a presentation that is sort of a classroom setting to start with, but then you get to pick your tech, and we're going to go over your car with you. I mean, it's more than just generic information. It's like you get to spend a little time with your car. That's not a bad thing. Get to know your car a little bit. Not, maybe your car will like you more. Maybe it won't break down as much. Maybe, I don't know. Cars used to have really personalities, didn't they? I mean, I always remember as a kid, and this is how crazy it goes, how my brain has worked, But I remember thinking that the car looked like the owner. You see the pictures where people's dogs, look like the owners? And I'm not saying that people look like dogs, okay? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying. You've seen those pictures. Well, I remember cars taking on the shit. When I knew the owner and I knew the car, it's like, that car looks like them. I mean, isn't that weird? My brain worked that way. I can't get out of this car cycle, can I? I've been stuck in it forever, and I can't leave. And I probably never will leave. I love the industry, and I love to help people get into this industry, because you know what? At the end of the day, I want some really strong, ethical people with character people that have good work habits. Work ethic is another word. I mean, some of the best people that I've learned ethics from. First, my great grandfather once said, "When you're through learning, you're through." Okay, so that is a work ethic. You can't just go to work and show up and clock in, and that's all you give, and expect your paycheck, and you somehow deserve more money. I mean, why do you deserve more money for doing the job that you always have done? You should be always giving more. And I've explained it this way. I know I'm getting off on my employer stuff, but did you know? Because all of you are either an employer or an employee, one of the two. Did you know that if your company, I mean, if your employee, that your boss has to make a profit off you? I mean, the real truth of it is because the lights in the place where you work do nothing to create income for the company, but people do, and you're important to your business to either bringing new ideas or making sure that your customers experience great service, great interaction. I mean, I have seen I have just seen some horrific things go on in businesses that I've been able to listen to some of the employees, and I just like, oh my goodness, are they? I mean, what are they thinking? But you've got to be profitable for your business, and that's the backbone of this country. Is not only small businesses, but people being profitable for the owners or for that business. And that's going to allow you ultimately to become more valuable. I think about everything every time I send one of my technicians to training, or I ask something new of my service advisors, and they have some new training, or even our office manager and learning new things. I'm increasing their markability to not just my industry, but to the job market, period. You know, more of that training may be job specific, but I'm making them more valuable to the job market. So if if I taught my technicians, hey, you need to learn how to type 40 words a minute, which we've done, they're more valuable. Or my office manager has learned QuickBooks and she's been to training, she's more valuable. So it's not just about me gaining, although I do as the owner of the company, but it's also about you learning more. And so you give more, you get more. You always, all those old sayings, not old, I mean, they're good sayings. Like, you only get out of something what you put into it, that kind of stuff. That's all neat. That's all neat stuff. That's easy and easy to do. So I want to remind you too about the VIP plan that we offer at Parkway Automotive, because it's such a unique plan. No, it's yet to be duplicated in this market or any other market that I'm aware of. And our VIP plan allows you as a member to pay one price and get oil changes free for life. You want to find out more about that, go to our website. We'll be back after break. This is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. We'll be right back.
All right, awesome.
I'm gonna spend a couple minutes making sure I'm right on some of these things. Okay. What are we at? What are we doing? We've done one.
We've done one.
Okay.
And this is number 2.
All right, ready?
Ready.
Yeah, we're ready. Let's do it. Hi, welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. Hey, just a second here. Come on in, Dave. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's 3 boxes.
Oh. Okay. That's what it is.
Sooner than a bell, right?
Definitely.
I promised
Thank
you
you,
that.
sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
The other one is for Jake.
That will be used,
Now, the only thing is y'all don't drink in the same room together.
of course.
And I already gave one to Dave Ellswick.
Mm-hmm.
And that other one I'm going to try to get to Cindy if I can see her before I leave.
All right.
Oh,
Let's do
start
this
over.
again.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Hey, welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive, where you can ask any question about your car anytime. Go to MikeTheAutoGuy.com to submit your answer. Again, I want to remind you about the Car Care Clinic that's coming up at Parkway Automotive. It's going to be up. We're going to be doing that April the 5th, up as if it's going somewhere. It's there at Parkway. And it's an opportunity for you to learn more about your car. So you want to sign up now, because we're going to limit the number of people that can participate in that, simply because we have a limited number of bays and we have a limited number of technicians. So we want to be sure that you get in on it. So sign up now, and when we get full, I will shut it down. So sign up right away. Just go to MikeTheAutoGuy.com to do that, and you'll see the link right there to do that. So don't miss that opportunity. And I want to mention a little bit about extended warranties. And I beg the question. What are you really afraid of when it comes? I mean, when you buy an extended warranty, what you're really buying is peace of mind, because that's how it's sold. It's sold with the idea of you've got all these electronics on your car and all these all these risk factors installed. And they usually try to give you some numbers as to an estimation of what some of those things cost to have done. Well, as it is, a few years ago, no, it was a year ago, it wasn't that long ago, I had the opportunity to do some very serious studying on the results of extended warranties and how they impacted the consumer, and what was the benefit that the consumer had. And I learned many years ago that contracts are always written in favor of those who write them. And so with that premise, I went to work. And where I ended up landing is really where Consumer Reports, the information that I got from them, which they have a lot more resources than I have personally, and I believe them to be extremely neutral. I think they work really hard at remaining neutral in their studies, no matter what the product or service is. But with Consumer Reports, they said that after extended warranties were sold, only 20% of them were actually used. All right, so we're talking about for anything. And we're talking about cars, so we're talking about cars. And only 3% of that 20, all right, so we've got the 20, not 100, we got 20. And only 3% of that 20 were actually used for major repair. So whatever the math is, the actual number of percentage, but only 20% of you are going to use your extended warranty, and only 3% of that 20 would actually use it for what you're really buying it for, is for protection against a major repair. So you just have to decide what gives you the greater peace of mind when it comes to putting money in an extended warranty. Because when you buy one, you need to look at it carefully, because it's going to tell you the things that you need to do to reduce their risk. And that being the regular service of the car, keeping it well maintained. And I know of companies right now that if you use their products, will give you like a lifetime warranty on those major things like the engine and transmission. There are companies that if you use their chemicals whenever your vehicle's getting serviced, then they're going to give you a warranty against a major breakdown of internally lubricated parts of your engine. Because even your extended warranty, look at it this way, even your extended warranty, if your car overheats and you damage the engine, or let me say it this way, if your car overheats, we'll start over. If your car overheats and the engine gets damaged as a result of the overheating, most extended warranties that I have read and have actually performed claims on will not pay for the engine damage. And the reason for that, because there's always a clause within extended warranties that talk about driver responsibility. And the other side of that is driver negligence. So they believe you have a responsibility to keep an eye on your gauges, and as soon as something's not right, that you would pull over and not continue to drive the car. And I know at one level that makes sense, but that's old language that's been around and has protected the extended warranties from very high dollar claims for years. And so they've kept it in there, and because in today's cars, what's different today than it was, 15 years ago, is we had cast iron blocks, and now we have like aluminum blocks, aluminum heads. They're called our bimetal engines, where they're cast iron and aluminum. And when they're already running at 215, 220 in their regular normal operating temperature, they can go from 220 to 250 to 260 and engine damage occur within like a quarter mile. And so sometimes this engine damage occurs so quickly that you can't even do anything about it. Now they'll pay for the reason the car overheated, like a cooling fan. If it's covered, then they would pay that, or a radiator because the radiator's leaking and it's covered, and they pay that. But the progressive damage that occurs as a result of continuing to operate the vehicle is the part they're not going to pay for. And so I say this when it comes to extended warranties. We handle extended warranties at Parkway Automotive. We process those, and we get the maximum amount we can for extended warranties on any repair that you have done, and including any testing that needs to be performed and all that. So we go through all that, so we know what's there. But I know that if you will do what they require you to do, then you're going to be in like that very small percent. You're going to be in that 80% of the people who never use their extended warranty. And if you do have something break, like an alternator, or you have a water pump, you'll spend less money just paying to have that fixed than you would have in purchasing that extended warranty. I mean, I'm just telling you, cars are built better than they ever have been. They last longer than they ever have been. I mean, the average age of a car right now on the road is 11 years. The cars just last longer. Look at how much they're costing. You need them to last longer. So why not start now with a good plan to keep your car well maintained? And the way we do that at Parkway Automotive is through our VIP plan. It is through the VIP plan that you're gonna have an ASE certified technician inspecting your car every 5,000 miles. And yes, we have a synthetic plan too. And it's fully transferable to the replacement vehicle, and we're going to keep your car in good shape. And if you need that peace of mind for the engine and transmission, then we sell some products that can help you have that peace of mind where you can get some money if that happens to happen. Now, I'll tell you, the percentage of that happening is very low, and it doesn't cost you anything extra other than the purchase of these chemicals or of these products to put in when you have the oil change or when you have the transmission flush, for example. They do have some guidelines of being under 36,000. We can go over all that with you at Parkway Automotive if you're interested in doing that. So we can provide that peace of mind of those major repairs, and then you just keep the money in the bank, or maybe you take a cruise or something else you might enjoy instead of buying paper and ink, hoping that it'll protect you at some point in the future. I mean, we're talking about a majority of the people that buy extended warranties find out later what we always find out when we put it into place what it actually covers. And so we're just seeing that the numbers are not necessarily in your favor when we talk about the purchase of an extended warranty. All right, so let's talk about what's going on in the body shop business. And in regards to, there was a class action lawsuit against several insurance companies, and I'm going to name them. There's 21 shops right now, body shops, that have filed a class action lawsuit against, and here are the insurance companies: State Farm, Progressive, Allstate, Nationwide, Geico, United States, the USAA, Safeco, Shelter Insurance Company, Direct General Insurance of Mississippi, Mississippi Farm Bureau, Shelter General Insurance. These were all named defendants in what is considered price fixing for the body repair business. And I want to get into detail on this, because at the end of the day, I need you to understand what this means for you. Because for you, you're just thinking, well, it's a body shop and it's an insurance company, and I really don't have anything to do with that. Well, you have a lot more at risk than you might realize if this does not happen correctly. So we're going to spend today talking about what's going on within, kind of behind the scenes for you as a consumer, and what it really means to you and your car. So we'll get to that right after the break. This is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. You're tuned in to Ask the Auto Guy on KARN. Yeah, this whole organization called Parts Trader has gotten in cahoots with State Farm, and they're actually trying to get suppliers to bid on jobs and reducing the retail price,
Yeah.
and then State Farm buying the parts, paying for the parts directly to the parts supplier,
Wow.
and and then the body shop just provide the labor,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine if the body shop's labor rate is $250 an hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they have to make a profit on the parts. They have to, in order, because of what it costs to operate a business.
Yeah.
And so State Farm's trying to sidestep them in there. And how they did this was so slick, because it all started with, the preferred provider or select shop.
Uh-huh.
We're going to send all of our customers to you.
Mm-hmm.
And now suddenly State Farm wants to be in the parts business instead of the insurance business. And they're gonna hurt the local business guy, the local body shop, because he needs that profits to buy equipment. I mean, if they want to buy the equipment to do what a body shop does and just let them provide labor, that's fine.
Yeah.
And when the part's wrong, they want to send someone over back to the body shop to package that part up and get it ready for shipping and have it picked up. You want to provide a personnel to do those services, because if the body shop's not going to.
Right.
They can't afford to if you do it that way. So they just got to get it. And I've got a fleet company called ARI. They're a fleet management company. They manage these large fleets for companies that we do service for them. And they were trying to do the same thing with them. And I sent them this information, and I said, you count me out.
Mm-hmm.
You find somebody else to do your labor.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you want to pay me $250 an hour, I'll be glad to let you provide the parts. But they're wanting to buy the parts direct from Advanced Auto Parts and then have them shipped over to us. And I say the same thing. And when that part's not right, or it's a ball joint and I can't move that car out of my bay, you need to understand that what comes with me providing the part is I'm taking all that risk.
Right.
And if you provide the part, then you get to take the risk, which means that the risk is if I can't get that car ready because I don't have the right part, then you're going to need to pay me some bay time when that car's just sitting there.
Amen to that.
That's just the way it is.
I agree. All right.
Okay, what are we in, number 2 or number
Number
3?
three.
Number 3. 2 is done. 3 is on the horizon. All right. Welcome back to Parkway Automotives. Welcome back to Parkway Automotives. We'll start this again. Welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive, and we are in the midst of talking about some things that are going on with insurance companies that at the end of the day are going to trickle down to you. And I want to start with this premise. And I believe that every one of you would agree with this. If you think about the job that you do day in and day out, and if you've been doing it for any number of years, hopefully you've gotten really good at it. That you've learned how to be helpful to the company you're working for, how to help the company be profitable, and you get really good at it. So we want to start with the premise of what I want to talk about these insurance companies are doing, with the premise that let the doctor be the doctor. I do not want a dentist doing surgery on my foot or my hip or my knee. And small businesses have learned that it's best to stick with what you know. Now, it's okay to try to create some other alternative income streams, as some businesses have done, and that's okay. But you have to stick to your core mission as a small business. You don't always have the ability to expand, and not even just small business, but any business needs to stick with what they do best, and that's the premise. Do what you do best and stick with that. All right, so here's how it's unfolded. Some years ago, State Farm primarily began to put together what they called select service shops, or providers. And they did this in the health insurance industry as well, where you had these preferred provider status. And so all that was in the beginning, what State Farm did seemed to be a good thing, where they would say, well, we're going to make sure that our select service, that these select service shops have the tools and the training to fix our customers' cars right, the right repair, using the right equipment, the right parts, the right certifications, the right training, all of that. And that's all good for you, the consumer, isn't it? No one would disagree with that. That is absolutely the right thing to do. Well, let me tell you now what it's evolved into. It's evolved into the insurance companies, and State Farm is the primary one named in this because they're kind of the driving force behind this whole idea. They have partnered with an organization called Parts Trader. And what Parts Trader does is they have a website where everyone gets to bid on State Farm jobs to be the part provider. So if I'm the vendor and I sell fenders here and there and bumpers and whatever, and then it comes through that State Farm says, hey, here's a job in Arkansas, and if you want to bid on the parts for this, you have these parts and you want to bid on them, then here's the list of parts. And so they bid on them, and and then they ship it back to State Farm, and now State Farm is deciding who is going to supply the parts. And then they're telling their select service shops, this is where you're going to get your parts from, right here. Now, on the surface, that looks okay, because it sounds like it might save the insurance company some money. I mean, which, if you follow the money in any business, you know that that's where it lands. But let me tell you what's happening at the body shop level. Now the body shop, for years, small companies or body shops have, when they have a problem with a part when it arrives at their facility, I'm telling you, it's a phone call away that they're going to get help from a local supplier who's doing business in the local community to come and help them, whether it be the wrong part or if there's a dent in it. And this is a good example of this whole process. Let's say that I buy the part through Parts Trader, and some vendor in Arizona won the bid, and he ships all the parts in, and you get the part in, and the fender's dented. All right, so what's the body shop to do? Does he fix it? Yeah, that's one option, right? Does he delay the repair by saying this fender's damaged? And then when he calls that vendor, the vendor says, well, no, that part wasn't damaged when it left here. You need to file a claim with the shipping agent. Okay, so we're not going to let the body shop make the money they need to make in order to stay in business and provide you with really good personnel who are well trained with the right tools to do the job. We're going to take that profit away from them, and then we're going to ask for them to engage in more administrative time in an effort to get a claim resolved because of a shipping damage. And so that's the way it can look when we're talking about dealing with vendors bidding on jobs and then State Farm paying for that vendor or paying that vendor to provide the parts for the body shop. Okay, so let's turn it around the way we need it to be and the way it should be. I mean, we know that the repairer, the Larry Goldens of the world, they know what the right repair is. They are looking at that car. They're the one going to training. I tell you what, you think of the people that are making decisions with things like I'm talking about, how many of them have sat in a school of any kind that tells them how to straighten a car on a frame or how to do the things you need to do. I mean, this is a big deal for the manufacturers to make sure that the people that they have a vested interest, and the people that fix and repair your car, that they do it correctly so that that car gets fixed right when it gets back to you, so it's as safe as it was before. Because if there is some safety issue as a result of faulty repair or faulty part, manufacturers know they're going to be named in a lawsuit. It's just, I mean, whether they had anything to do with it or not. And so under allowing the body shop not just to be profitable, but we're also talking about the body shop being able, that when there is a problem, when that fender is dented, that they're a phone call away, and there's either going to be another fender there, or they're going to pay the body shop to make that repair to that fender and it be good like it needs to be. And that's for you. That's for your benefit. Otherwise, Because the next step, the next evolving revolution to this kind of activity is you've got an insurance company trying to get into the parts business. And it's all going to roll down to what's on the paper for the dollars and the profitability of the insurance company. We understand profit, and we understand that insurance companies need to be profitable. But do you really think they're going to lower your premiums because they are buying the parts at wholesale? And do you really think it's helping that body shop by them providing the parts for the body shop? And it's just not. And at the end of the day, you, the consumer, will lose because they are not going to be able to repair the car right. The cost will escalate for a body shop to operate, and then they're not going to be around because we've already got insurance companies trying to dictate what the insurance or what the body shops can even charge for any particular repair. And so this whole idea of Parts Trader coming in on the back side, and I've got some numbers to actually share with you. You're just going to be amazed at what some of the suppliers and the body shops are saying in regards to already using Parts Trader. And you can't, let me tell you what, you cannot, in the American way of doing business, you cannot shove something down our throat and expect us to use it and do it. And that's exactly what State Farm is trying to do through Parts Trader, is saying that you have to use, if you're going to be a select shop, you're going to use Parts Trader. And then they're telling the vendors that in order for you to sell parts to my select shops, you got to use Parts Trader. And so they're trying to change the way body shops do business without them being in the body shop business. And therein lies the problem. Body shop owners and operators know how to make their business better, not the insurance companies. We'll be back and we'll talk more about this and other things when we get right back after the break right here on Ask the Auto Guy with your host Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive.
That's your phone?
A missed call, obviously. You must leave a message.
Mm-hmm. You don't want to get scammed. All right. Are you ready?
Sure.
10:50. Excuse me.
All right, we ready anytime?
I'm ready anytime.
And this is number what?
4.
This is number 4. We're done.
We finished, sir.
Hey, welcome back to Mike the Auto Guy. Welcome back. Let's start over. Welcome back to Ask the Auto Guy. This is Mike Davidson from Parkway Automotive. We're talking about what's going on behind the scenes with insurance companies, and many of them have already been named in a class action suit down in Mississippi in an attempt. And you think this doesn't impact you, but believe me, it does. Absolutely does. Because we need body shops to be able to stay in business, to be able to operate, to be able to do the job that they know how to do better than anyone else. And let me give you some numbers here, because as we've talked about this, how this has impacted. Let's just talk about the certified or the select service shops that State Farm has identified throughout the country. And again, it all started with them making sure that these shops have the right tools and the right training to do the right repair, which all seems good. And I agree with it, and it feels good. And it's like what AAA does for shops like mine. And we're the only AAA approved shop in Little Rock. And they make sure that we meet some certain standards. All right, which in all itself can be good. But what has happened through the certified shop process, we've weeded out some body shops, and then more of this culling is going to take place to the detriment of getting cars fixed in a more timely fashion. So back when this first started with these select shops, I think it's back in like 2008, something like that, because I'm not sure the year it started. But there are now today 20,000 fewer shops that are select service centers than there were before. I mean, you can say State Farm is trying to look for better ways to repair cars, but let me just tell you what, every body shop owner in this country is looking for a better and faster way to repair cars. Because if they can do the right repair in a short amount of time, it means more profitability for them. And that's okay, because they need these profits to provide the training and to provide the quality parts, to get the right parts, to get the right personnel. I mean, when you talk about hiring people, I mean, you've got to hire quality people, and quality people don't come cheap. And so they've got to understand what they're doing. Now, let me tell you kind of the next step, sort of a driving force on the repair process side. And this is coming more from the manufacturers to the body shops than anyone else. And that is that these cars need to be repaired correctly. And I alluded to it a little bit earlier in the show. And there is a year-long process for a body shop to become, and the term, and this may not be the exact term that you'll hear about or even know about, but it's manufacturer certified, where the manufacturer, be it Chrysler, GM, or Ford, that they certify a body shop to fix their cars, because they will know that this particular shop has invested in the tools necessary and the training for its personnel to be able to repair the cars correctly. Now, I mean, I'm just telling you that all that costs money for the body shop to become manufacturer certified. And where does he get the money to be able to do that? Well, he gets that from his profits. And profit is not a bad word. It is a good word. Believe me, you need companies to be profitable, because you need them to be there all the time and in the future when you need services of any kind. And so they need these profits in order to do that. And so we can't have the insurance companies dictating to the body shops what they're going to charge or where they're going to get their parts. I mean, and if you look at Parts Trader as a whole, they're really forcing the suppliers to bid against one another. So instead of the body shop being able to call the guy he knows that he goes to church with on Sunday, or he has lunch with occasionally, or has that kind of close relationship with, instead of him being able to call that guy, he's now being forced to call somebody else to buy those parts. All right, so they're forcing them to go that route. And any time a car is fixed with a part that didn't go through the parts trader, now it's being flagged as that shop not being in compliance with State Farm regulations on where they get their parts. And so, I mean, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. Okay, so they went ahead and put out a survey to kind of rate this whole parts trader, and on a scale of 1 to 10, and we're talking about body shops that are in the trenches every day doing the work on your car, the guys that are there doing it. Let's give them a score, 1 being poor and 10 being excellent. 40% of the body shops gave them a 1 in performance. And when we're talking about getting your car turned around and fixed correctly. And another 34% gave it a 4 or lower. So now we're at 74% gave a 4 or lower. 40% gave them a 1. And 1 in 10 rated it as an 8, but not a single solitary vendor gave Parts Trader a rating of 9 or 10. The Automotive Service Association, which is a big advocate for the association and ultimately for the consumer, that cars get repaired right, they are very much against this process. And it just has not shown to be a good thing for you, the consumer. And it has not brought them It has not brought the body shops new customers as you might expect it to under the select service. And again, I want to stress the reason I talk about this on this show, that it's a consumer oriented show, is that at the end of the day, you, the consumer, you need your car repaired correctly. And the technology involved in repairing today's cars it's more important than it ever has been that the guy holding the sander, the guy holding the tools, the guy holding the wrench understand how your car was built in order to fix it correctly. The right repair cannot be done part of the time. The right repair must be done 100% of the time. And that right repair comes from right parts and right technology and right training and right people all coming together on the bus right in front of your car when it's in their bay for them to make the repair. That's what's got to come together. And so we can't have insurance companies involved in the parts business because no one knows it better than the body shop that you work with day in and day out. That's who's going to be the best at it. And we've seen something similar in our industry with some fleet management companies trying to follow that we'll call it that business model for them to supply parts to shops like mine to fix fleet vehicles. Now, it's not costing the fleet any less. You know why? Because they're still charging the fleet the retail price. But they're buying the parts at what I would buy them for, and I need those profits for the very same reasons the body shop need the profits. I mean, you have to understand how important profits are for business. It's a repairer's right to choose their vendors, whether it's me as a mechanical shop or the body shop. We know who our vendors are because we know these people, and we know that they have something at stake. They have a dog in the fight of making sure that I'm satisfied as a customer who buys parts for your car from that vendor. And so they're going to do a really good job for me, or help me out when I'm in a bind, or be quick to get that part for me when I need that part. Because this whole process solely financially benefits State Farm, and it's a lot more of a dictatorship than it is or ever will be a partnership. We just cannot operate our small businesses that way. It stifles competition. It harms both the consumer and the small business person all the way around. I mean, another easy way, maybe you can understand it this way. I want you to go down to your local grocery store, and I want you to go pick out a really nice steak that you want for dinner. And then I want you to take that steak, and I want you to go up to the butcher shop over here on Shackelford Road, and I want you to take that steak in and sit down at your booth, and when the waiter comes over, you say, "Here's my steak. Would you fix it for me for less than what you have on your menu price? I want it medium well." I mean, who would do that, right? It's crazy. But that's the picture I'm drawing for you, for them to do that. You're still going to take up the same amount of space in that restaurant as you did as if you were buying the steak for them, and you're going to be there for the same amount of time. And I don't know the restaurant business at all, but I know that there's probably numbers that says we need to turn this table a certain number of times every hour in order for us to be profitable, or every however much the time is. It's time and space. And so the same thing we're talking about of any business. All right, so there's a good rant for today to find out what's going on with insurance company behind the scenes and how that impacts you. This is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. We'll be back next week to talk more about you and your car.
Look at there, look at there. I'm talking about on insurance.
Yeah. Oh man, it's crazy. And it's funny because I had learned about this, and I called Larry Golden yesterday to talk to him more about it, to get his insight from it all. And then on my desk this morning is this.
Hey, y'all done?
Hey,
Yeah, we're finished.
I brought you a cup.
Oh,
I brought you a cup. Yeah, that's yours.
Oh,
Now give me that one I gave you to give to him so I can give it to him.
Here, real quick. Give me a promo.
Oh, give me a pro. Oh gosh, what was I
Got a
going to say?
spot on you, listen, David.
All right, I'll be right there.
Spot on the carpet, spot on your head, spot. Oh, nothing else.
All right.
Hey, this is Mike the Auto Guy. Tune in this Saturday to find out what's going on behind the scenes and major insurance companies that have been named in a class action lawsuit. This is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive this Saturday, 3 o'clock on Ask the Auto Guy.
Now,
Wait a minute, can I change that promo, please?
uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
You may. This time.
All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is Mike the Auto Guy from Parkway Automotive. Tune in this Saturday to find out if your insurance company is dictating the right repair on your car. That's this Saturday, 3 o'clock, right here on Ask the Auto Guy. Okay.